As a young girl, I felt it was fully off limits. Then, I guess, in my 20s, with the exposure to the film world, I saw another completely crazy side to it, and I was a bit like shocked, I have to say. But I understood at least my boundaries. Look, I'll be honest, you can find pleasure in great food. Literally, I'm not kidding. Everyone thinks pleasure just means sexual. No, it's not. It could be the pleasure of just enjoying a moment or enjoying an amazing meal, enjoying great music, enjoying sexual pleasure. It could be self pleasure, it could be pleasure with somebody else, it could be really just being in the moment. I think that's what we all forget to do. We're so caught up with our kids, caught up with our life, caught up with our moments, caught up, with everything that is literally routine in our lives. And I always say this, that take a few moments to enjoy and experience the pleasure of just the simple things, around you. I know this may sound completely cliched, but it does work. And, it's definitely the need of the hour. Oh, I still see a lot of it. It's definitely, there was this complete crazy item number phase where every song and every actress looked the same. I mean, literally the same. Light eye, colored lenses, the same makeup, the same kind of clothes. I think we have a very mass audience in India. So if you're talking about that audience, I think somewhere maybe they still want it. But it can change. I feel it is changing. It's becoming a little more, it's becoming different, but not so much so. Oh my God, I can definitely address that because, I mean, it's amazing as I champion body positivity because I can definitely tell you every day I have to work on it. I have to work on myself. I feel moments of lows because it's years of conditioning. My God, it's years of being told that if you don't have that figure and you don't have that perfect body, you don't have that clean face with no pimples, then you're not it. You're not up with the standards. And I have stretch marks. I have loose skin. I break out, and I can tell you that it's like. It's a lot of pressure that young girls go through, women in their 30s, 40s, and even older women who are told that, women aren't supposed to age. You're supposed to age gracefully. What is graceful? Graceful is allowing a person to be. So, yes, there's a lot of pressure. And my advice would be, please do not cave into that pressure. Just focus on you. You are your number one. And if that's your body type, if that's your skin color, if that is the way you are, you gotta absolutely roll with it. In fact, take those parts of you and make them sing. Be unique. You gotta bring it to the forefront. That's what makes you different. Why do you want to be like everybody else? I think that honestly, again, talking from my point of view, it has a lot of connection to how a woman feels about herself, which is connected to so many different aspects of her life. It could be how she feels emotionally, physically, where she is in her life, and that you have to really dig really deep and understand yourself every day to understand what upsets you, to what makes you feel good, what drives you, what is your inspiration, and not because others expect it of you, not because your husband or your in-laws or your friends or your boyfriend expect this of you. You have to champion what you understand about yourself. You have to celebrate that. You have to celebrate yourself. There are going to be ups and there are going to be downs. And you have to understand both aspects and try to stay neutral and prioritize what it means to you. And that's where your own sexual desire and your love for yourself comes into play. It is all connected, but the key is to understand yourself, your needs, and your priorities, which as women we tend to not do. I have to say, growing up, my God, it was fully taboo. I came from a very hardcore South Indian family. And even when you saw somebody kissing on screen, you know how it is. Like, cover your eyes, Samira. Or like, it's like, this is not for you to see. Even when I was maybe 15 years old. And I always thought there was something very mysterious, and the communication was not there. Any questions I had, I would ask my sister. And luckily, I was, thanks to her, I knew a bit about it all. But I will tell you that the different phases were different. Like as a young girl, I felt it was fully off limits. Then I guess in my 20s, with the exposure to the film world, I saw another completely crazy side to it, and I was a bit like shocked, I have to say. But I understood at least my boundaries, and I took the good and the bad, and I had to make mistakes to understand. And I think today, as I said, as a mother, it's a different phase where one is really on the move, and my God, crazy exhausted, and it takes a lot to make time for yourself. But the key is communication, and luckily I married a man who is really a champion of understanding how important communicating with your partner is all about. And that has been a game changer for me. I don't think so. I think everybody has a different journey. And speaking from my personal experience, and many mums who reach out to me, I think we're overwhelmed. There's so much to do, from the responsibilities, from the physical changes in our own body, and emotional changes, hormonal changes. The expectations are very high, and the pressure is very high in keeping up. And sometimes in all that, you tend to ignore yourself. And that ends up putting your sexual desires pretty much on the last, it's last on the list. So, as I said, it's very relative, but it's very normal for it to happen. And I think as a mother, I have to say, the reason we're doing this podcast is to tell not only moms, but other women that you got to bring it right on the top of that list, because you deserve it, and you deserve to explore this part of you and not think that it is not important for you. And that's what this conversation that we're having with Limitless and this podcast with Westside is all about.